Coming up on WUFT's First at 5, the 6th Alachua County Superintendent fired in the last 10 years. Why school board leaders say he was unfit for the job.
Plus, early voting is underway in more than half of Florida's counties. Why election leaders are pushing to get you to the polls ahead of Election Day.
In a city connected by 4 counties, how local law enforcement comes together to protect the community.
First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
In less than an hour, the Alachua County School Board will meet to appoint an interim superintendent. This is First at 5. I'm Natasha Holt.
And I'm Alex Land. We told you last week that the board fired Superintendent Shane Andrew after only 9 months officially holding the position. Andrew's last day on the job will be on November 15th. The motion to remove Andrew was raised unexpectedly last week by board member Kay Abbott while evaluating the superintendent's performance. The board fired him in a vote of 3-2. Andrew is the 6th person in the past 10 years to hold the position. The search for the next permanent superintendent is already underway.
They'll each come with a list of names or even one name of somebody they think should serve as an interim superintendent.
We'll have a crew at the meeting tonight and a full report on its outcome on WUFT.org.
Our second top story is happening right now. Voters across North Central Florida are lining up to cast their vote in the 2024 presidential election.
Here in Alachua County, there are 8 different locations where neighbors can head to the polls. WUFT's Bailey Korinek is live at the Alachua County Supervisor of Elections office, where the lines are already getting long.
Alachua is one of 3 dozen counties kicking off early voting today in Florida. You can come cast your paper ballot just like you would on Election Day, November 5th, but just a little bit sooner. I'm at the Supervisor of Elections office where the line has been pretty steady all day, but now you can hear tons of honks. You can hear campaigners behind me, and they're catching people's attention on their drive home from work.
We expect the levels to, slow down a little bit throughout the day and then pick back up. We certainly expect later this week and into the weekend because the first week of early voting is really when people get excited to cast their vote.
Car after car, voter after voter, filing in to cast their ballot. A handful of Alachua County polling locations saw bustling crowds and long lines today.
Very busy. We are seeing a lot of voter interest. If you could turn the camera around, you would see cars struggling to find parking spots. It's just the first day.
All eager to get that special sticker.
When you get out here, you need to understand that your vote counts and your voice matters.
But first, standing in line.
I should circle back at another time. So, I don't know, I hope not more than a half an hour.
Patiently waiting.
Usually I can avoid the crowd, but not this time.
County officials from across the state urge Floridians to get their vote in early, making sure your voice is heard in several of the state's key races.
The great thing about voting in Florida is that we have 3 different opportunities to vote. The vote by mail phase of the election, which is still continuing, early voting for 2 weeks, and then our last option, which is Election Day on November 5th.
Officials encourage you to please be patient, stick out the line, take a glance at those preparedness guides and sample ballots. Reporting live in Alachua County, Bailey Korinek, WUFT News.
Early voting is already underway in Marion County. Here's the latest on the when, where, and how to get your ballot in early. On your screen, here are just some of the early voting locations in Marion County. You can vote at any of these locations from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Make sure to have your photo ID at the ready. Marion County Supervisor of Elections Wesley Wilcox encourages early voting because Florida can be unpredictable.
Everything can be great this week, and then all of a sudden start hearing Tuesday or Wednesday there's something out there, because we're still in hurricane season all the way through the end of November. I highly recommend go to an early voting site.
Wilcox says early voters can get through the Marion County Center election line in around 10 minutes. Early voting ends on November 2nd.
Early voting begins today in Taylor County and on Thursday in Dixie County, despite devastating damage from Hurricane Helene. All previously planned poll locations are in operation. One temporary poll has been set up outside Blue Creek Baptist Church because of building damage. That change was possible because of an executive order signed by Governor DeSantis that allows for some flexibility in areas with significant hurricane damage. Taking a live look out on our DOT cam over I-75 near Paynes Prairie, it's been a clear and sunny day. Perfect to head out to the polls for the first day of early voting. UF forecaster Tim Miller joins us to break down how long this cooler weather will last.
Yeah, what a great day, right? 78 our current temperature, but look at that wind, northeast about 13 miles per hour. That makes it really refreshing. Here's another view. Absolutely gorgeous outside. Again, 78 degrees, northeast winds around 13 miles per hour. Just really could not ask for a better evening. And again, it's going to continue this way really for the next several hours as we move forward here. 79 in Gainesville at the moment. It is 81 Ocala, 82 down in Cedar Key. So that's pretty seasonable for us for this time of year. If any plans for tonight will fall into the 70s, the notice into the 60s. Maybe a little patchy clouds sort of here and there, but really no big deal. What we're looking at is some great weather overhead, warm days, pleasant nights, and only an isolated sprinkle chance. So we'll talk about that and a look at the tropics too, all coming up in just a few minutes.
We're entering the final stretch of the 2024 election, and neither campaign is slowing down. Bree Jackson breaks down where the presidential hopefuls are headed to make their final appeals before the polls.
Presidential campaigns in overdrive. Former President Trump making 3 stops in North Carolina, including a visit to a community hit hard by Hurricane Helene. Trump expressing confidence in efforts to ensure those impacted still have their voices heard at the ballot box.
I mean, we're so impressed, and I think they have a pretty good system here. I have not heard any complaints about that.
Vice President Harris on a 3-state blitz, seeking to shore up Democratic support in blue wall states while reaching out to skeptical Republicans. Doubling down on her pledge to appoint a member of the GOP to her cabinet if elected.
We need to be able to have these good, intense debates about issues that are grounded in fact.
The stakes and voter enthusiasm are high as more states begin early voting.
Top of mind is the economy, very high. Everything's high.
I'm Catholic. I don't like abortions, but I don't believe they have the right to tell you what to do or not to do.
Candidates are feeling the pressure. Trump's attacks on the campaign trail going from aggressive to profane.
We can't stand you, you're a Vice President.
Donald Trump should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. He has not earned the right.
Both candidates have just 15 days to convince voters they're the right person for the job. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
For more stories on election season as early voting gets underway, you can visit the Campaign 2024 section of our website. You'll find candidate profiles, voting locations, and guides to amendment voting. That's all on WUFT.org.
In other news, one person is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries right now after a plane crash on Sunday evening. Cross-city airport officials say a single-engine airplane crashed, leaving one person dead. The National Transportation Safety Board is still investigating what could have caused the crash.
The 4 counties that make up Melrose have renewed an agreement that allows sheriffs to work together in the city. Because of its unique geography, the city of Melrose is technically sat between 4 counties. Alachua, Bradford, Clay, and Putnam County officers all respond to incidents across county lines. Clay County Sheriff Michelle Cook says the agreement is a critical step to better protect residents from crime. The agreement was first signed in 2008 and has been renewed twice since then.
A new UF program gives students an alternative to pay for parking citations. Coming up on First at 5, how you can pay your fines by giving back to the community.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Starting today, UF students can pay for parking citations with canned goods. WUFT's Bernardo Montas is live in the studio with where you can drop off your donations.
That's right, Alex. UF's Transportation and Parking Services launched its Food for Fines initiative today. The program lets people donate canned proteins or soups in exchange for dismissing certain parking citations. All donations will go to the Hitchcock Field and Fork Pantry. Participants must have a current UF Gator 1 ID and all outstanding tickets in the same name. Citations must be less than 6 months old and no more than $35 too. All canned goods must be sealed, unopened, and in good condition. TAPS will forgive 1 citation for every 5 cans you bring. Donor Olivia Miles says initiatives like this one are helpful to college students.
I work, I have a couple jobs, so it's nice to not have to pay $35, and instead I just brought like some food, and it makes you feel good.
No more than 4 citations will be forgiven per person during the academic year. Also, the program doesn't cover any late or collection fees that may come with a citation. The initiative will end this Friday at 4:30 p.m. Live in studio, Bernardo Montas, WUFT News.
You might start seeing some relief at the pumps. Gas prices are stabilizing for the first time since Hurricane Milton. That's according to a report released today from AAA. The average gas price across the state of Florida was $3.09 as of Sunday, but Gainesville is still seeing some of the highest prices across the state at $3.18 a gallon. To save on gasoline, AAA recommends you pay with cash to reduce extra fees. You should also remove extra weight in your car. They say every 100 pounds taken out improves fuel economy by 1 to 2%. Downloading apps also could help you find discounted prices.
Alachua County neighbors who still have debris left behind by Hurricanes Milton or Helene can drop them off for free at 2 landfill sites. The Northwest Landfill in Alachua and the Southwest Landfill in Archer will be open from 7:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night. These drop-off sites are only open to Alachua County residents, and you need to provide a driver's license and valid address to enter.
3 locations are now open for neighbors living in unincorporated Marion County to drop off debris left from Hurricane Milton. The locations on your screen are open daily until Sunday. You'll need to bring an ID to prove you live in an unincorporated area, and these locations are for non-commercial debris pickup only.
A recently remodeled Dollar General location is now offering fresh produce for neighbors. The Dollar General at 2112 Southwest 13th Street in Gainesville was recently remodeled. Store leaders say they believe the introduction of fresh produce in this location highlights their commitment to the Gainesville community.
Get ready for it. We have some great weather headed our way. Temperatures going to be warm, pleasant nights, only an isolated sprinkle here and there. A full look at your forecast is coming up.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
I tell you what, if we had a rate today between a 1 and a 10 as far as the forecast is concerned, it would be 100. It is beautiful outside. Thank you, high pressure, double-barreled high pressure at that. We have high pressure to our north near Lexington, Kentucky, then off the coast near New York. The only deal with that is that the air around high pressure going clockwise is bringing us a northeast wind, which isn't too bad. It's been rather breezy with sunshine. That feels great. But what it's doing, it's bringing a little Atlantic moisture off the Atlantic and then inland a little bit. So my thinking is probably tomorrow through the rest of the week, there could be an isolated shower here and there. Really won't be too much to write home about. Certainly not a washout. In fact, much of the day will remain dry. But don't be surprised if you see a little isolated shower here and there, and certainly no thunderstorms. A look at futurecast as we go through the day tomorrow. I mean, you notice the clouds moving in from the northeast. Here these showers sort of pop up. I'll stop it at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. So 24 hours from now, thereabouts, you'll see just a mix of sunshine and clouds, again with a sprinkle here and there. But for the most part, again, we're going to remain dry, all thanks to that northeast wind. Lows tonight about 64 degrees. You'll notice 68 in the Villages. So we're starting to warm up these nights, right? So we've had some pretty chilly nights over the last couple of days with these fronts that have moved through. But now we're going to start to warm it up here a little bit. So maybe a little bit above average in some places, but on average, I'd say low to mid 60s for overnight lows, which is pretty typical for us. As far as the day tomorrow is concerned, some morning clouds 66 at 8 o'clock by noon, sunshine and 78. Picture perfect afternoon for tomorrow, except for that chance of an isolated shower. Again, I'll keep that rain chance less than 20%. This is Oscar, and here it is. Rather much of a hot mess at this point, a lot of wind shear. It's now Tropical Storm Oscar. It's going to continue to move off towards the northeast. At the moment, it is moving towards the northwest at 7, but that's the path the Hurricane Center gives it, remaining a tropical storm. So with high pressure to our north, that's going to prohibit that storm from ever even thinking about headed our way. So again, it will remain probably towards the Bahamas, east of the Bahamas really. Wind speeds currently at about 40 miles per hour, and that's pretty much where it will stay. And that is certainly good news for us because we remain dry. We have plenty of rain that we've had over the last couple storms, have we not? Here's our 7-day outlook. 83 coming up for the next couple days. Notice these temperatures will rise just a little bit, maybe 84 on Thursday, but again, low humidity, so it'll feel nice during the day. Bit of a breeze. 60 on Friday morning with a cold front that'll come on through. But again, we're still talking temperatures into the 80s. Our next decent front comes by Monday. That'll drop the temperatures into the upper 70s. Overnight lows into the upper 60s. I don't know about you all, but I am officially ready to put a fork in summer. I think we're pretty much done with that. And hurricane season to boot. Hurricane season, of course, goes to November 30th. We still have some time, but for the most part, I don't see any big storms headed our way, which is certainly great news.
Coming up on WUFT Sports, rising star and true freshman Jaden Baia receives an honor after his performance at the homecoming game this weekend against Kentucky. Also, high school football is set to play on a Monday night again this week.
Game is gearing up for Monday Night Lights. Stay tuned after the break to hear about key players in the game.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome into sports. I'm Madison Walker. High school football is happening tonight with the Gainesville Hurricanes hosting another Monday night game. This is the first of 2 games the Hurricanes will play this week. WUFT's Talia Baia is live from Citizens Field to give you more on tonight's matchup.
Gainesville High School is currently suiting up to take on Lake Weir tonight. Both teams are coming in 4-3 and looking to bounce back from losses last Monday. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. and all eyes will be on top players. Leading the charge for Gainesville is senior running back Devin Johnson, a true all-around threat. Johnson's versatility shines as he plays running back, wide receiver, and cornerback. He's averaging nearly 100 rushing yards per game and has racked up 692 yards on the ground and a total of 8 touchdowns this season. Quarterback Nelson Tambling is also someone to watch, with 7 touchdowns and 892 passing yards so far this year. And then after tonight's game, Gainesville will reshift their focus on the next game on Friday against Vanguard, and kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. Reporting at Citizens Field, Talia Baia, WUFT Sports.
Florida football is back in the winner's bracket after the Gators were able to chomp away the Wildcats on Saturday, taking down Kentucky 48-20. With Florida having freshman DJ Lagway in his first official SEC game start, the Gator offense was able to dominate. The dynamic duo of Lagway and freshman running back Jaden Baia was undeniable in the Swamp, with this being the first true freshman quarterback and running back pair to start in UF history. Baia had 5 rushing touchdowns on Saturday night, tying Florida's record of rushing touchdowns in a single game set by Tim Tebow and Trey Burton. Because of this elite performance in his first career start, Baia was announced SEC Freshman of the Week earlier today. Looking forward with Gator football, this weekend is a bye week for the team, giving them some much-needed rest before another big SEC rivalry matchup. Georgia, coming off of a big upset against Texas this past Saturday, will be tough to beat with their current momentum. The Bulldogs took down the Longhorns 30-15, also pulling Texas's ranking down in the process. Georgia now is ranked 2nd according to the AP Top 25 college football rankings, putting Texas in 5th. On November 2nd, both the Gators and the Bulldogs will travel to Jacksonville for the annual Florida-Georgia game at Everbank Field. On Saturday night, the Gator football win wasn't the only cause for celebration. During halftime, the 1984 team was finally recognized for their SEC title win. It was stripped after the NCAA uncovered recruiting violations and improper benefits tied to head coach Charlie Pell. They were also banned from postseason play.
Before we go, one last check on the weather.
How about the word beautiful? Sunshine, temperatures in the 80s coming up for tomorrow and over the next several days.
Thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5. But your North Central Florida news is always on at WUFT.org and all of our social media platforms. Have a good night.